Be the right club. Be the right club today.
Johnny, that's better than most.
How about in?
That is better than most. Better than most.
Expect anything different?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the No Laying Up live show, presented as always by our friends at Titleist. Solid here. We got a full house tonight. Mr. Big Randy is here. Hello, Big.
Hello, guys. Excited to be here.
Neil Icarito Schuster is here. Hello, Neil.
Hell yeah, Big. Fired up tonight. I'm doing fantastic. Let's get it on.
TC is here. Hello, TC.
Greetings, guys. Randy, I'm stoked your guy Blockie got it done.
Oh,
Out abandoned.
I know we got a whole segment on that. So I'll save some thoughts.
A massive show tonight. We have a lot to discuss. Cameron Young wins the Cadillac Championship. Mikhail Lindberg wins the Turkish Airlines Open. Nelly Korda wins again the Riviera Maya Open. Mari Avery looking to go back-to-back on the Epson Tour. They're on the back nine right now. Jesse Dromer wins the PGA Club Pro Championship. Massive week in Liv Golf news. There's some Ryder Cup news. We had a lot to discuss today, but before we get to there, I want to remind you, No Laying Up Show here is brought to you by our friends at FootJoy, the #1 shoe in golf, the #1 shoe at the Cadillac Championship, and the official shoe for Cam Young. We talked about some of the tweaks Cam has made recently to his clubs, to his golf ball. He's also done some testing with the footwear, like Justin Thomas has, like Adam Scott has. Cam views footwear as part of his equipment, and through recent testing, he determined Premier Series is the best for his game. So for him, the stability in the sole of the Premier helps his foot function as a single unit and harness as much power as possible through the swing. He needs the trail foot to be locked in. And with the all-new Premier Series, he tried to exaggerate his movement in the testing to see if he could get the trail foot to move and was unable to do so. The process confirmed he had all the performance he needed, plus incredible comfort and the classic styling he prefers. We teased this a couple weeks ago as well, but we'll have some more to share on this. But TC went through a similar testing process, found the Premier Series was the best for his game. I can attest as his witness, he a 3.5 mile an hour ball speed gain in the Premier versus other shoes he had been wearing. So just picture seeing a gain like that just by wearing the right golf shoe for your swing. So.
Solly, I will say the 2026, the new Premiers, they're like 30% lighter. The tongue is very beefed up. They just have a lot more structure there. That it's a like a noted improvement over what was already my favorite shoe in the game.
Much more to come on that process, but needless to say, like Cam Young, TC, all in on the Premier Series. So check out the full line of FootJoy shoes, including the new Premier Series at FootJoy.com. Guys, Cadillac Championship was not the greatest golf tournament I've ever seen, but if you don't mind, I'm going to quickly remind you of what went down this week. Cameron Young took a 6-shot lead into the final round over Scotty Scheffler, Siwoo Kim, and Christopher. I've now heard Raitan. I've heard Rayton. I've heard a lot of things now, and I do not know how to pronounce it. I was so committed to Raitan. It was super easy to remember. It was like right hand, and I've that's how it's been. And now all of a sudden, all the CBS guys are calling him Rayton. His PGA Tour bio page has Rayton. I'm just going to apologize ahead in advance on that one. But anyways, probably the bigger story here. Cameron Young. Tee times got moved up Sunday because of weather. They got delayed a little bit. Ball in hand, whatnot. The most dramatic thing maybe of the day, Cameron Young called a penalty on himself in the second fairway when his ball moved after he addressed it. Still went on to make par, actually increased his lead shortly after that, up to 7 shots with birdies on 3 and 5. He birdied the 8th hole to get to 18 under. He then made birdies on 12, 15, and 16, got all the way to 19 under par. Would win the tournament by 6 shots over Scotty Scheffler. Incredible, those two going head-to-head here. But I know Cody's is celebrating behind the scenes here, guys. Is there a world we ever pictured this level of success for Cameron Young?
Yes, his rookie year when he was like top 10 in 9 straight events, including the Masters at Riv. Like he busted onto the scene, and then he struggled. He couldn't win. And I was thinking about it today. You compare that to say like Tom Kim, who comes out and flashes. Your boy, Solly, and then now he struggles. Like, what would you rather have? Would you rather like earn it the way Cam Young, like learn how to win over the course of like 2-3 years, or get I don't know, come out swinging and then struggle after that? I kind of like the journey that Cam Young's been on. But I think to answer your question, I remember thinking this guy is like next when he was a rookie, and then he kind of fell off the map. So so that's my answer.
He fell down to like over 150th in the data golf rankings. He was in qualifying for the US Open last year, and has been
5-way playoff.
He's been the second best player in the world since he switched golf balls in August. Won his first championship at the Wyndham. Now this is his third title, and just won by 6. Honestly, I was some of this today. I know this is not a good analogy, but what came to mind was Tiger when he switched golf balls before everybody else did in 2000 and was just blowing fields away. That's kind of what today felt like, of just like, dude, this guy looks like he's playing a completely different game. We've seen what Scottie Scheffler has done in professional golf over the last 3 years, 4 years, whatever you want to call it. And he just dusted him like it was nothing. This would have been another Scottie win had it not been for Cameron just completely dusting the field. I saw a ton of potential in him. I did not see this ceiling. I didn't think he'd be a good enough putter. He had a lot of trouble closing out tournaments in the early part of his career. He was always a big hitter, but I didn't know the iron play could be this good. I'll ask this question next. Cameron Young is the blank best player in the world, and I'm going to ask you guys to fill in the blank on that one. TC, I'm going to start with you.
Is the blank best player
be your
in the world?
own ranking. And it's not Fedora 5. It's just who you consider to be the best golfers in the world.
According to Fedora 5, he's the 4th best golfer in the world right now. Which I mean, really 5th if we're talking about the Fitzpatrick brothers. But no, I think he's the 3rd best golfer in the world right now.
Neil?
3rd was going to be my answer as well. I would take him over John Rahm and Bryson right now.
Randy?
I have it at 4. I have
Randy's gonna include
Rory,
Nelly.
Scotty, and I'm sticking with Matt Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, Randy, I knew it. I love it.
I think Cameron Young's the 2nd best player in the world right now.
Ahead of Rory?
I put him ahead of Rory. And I know Rory just won the Masters. I know all that. That's fine. Rory cheated. He had all the visits ahead to Augusta. That's the only reason he won the Masters.
Like his home
we learned that. We learned that on ESPN. We learned that. Had an unfair advantage in that one. No, I look at what this guy has done over the last, it's like a 9-month period. This is not a short time period. And he's taken a just completely extra leap this year. And I think he's the 2nd best player in the world right now. And I'm not positive he won't be number 1. And I'm fine to I'm usually the one preaching patience on these nights of like, let's not get caught up. Let's not, award him a bunch of stuff, but I do not think he's done. I think this is not a fluke, and I'm just so impressed with what he's doing right now.
Man, you're willing to say that with no major.
I know.
That's a little
just
early
had
for
a
me.
chance at Augusta.
A little early for me.
It's not. He's not accomplished the second
Now
most.
that the data is spitting stuff out, Solly's in. Solly's in. It's,
I do want to say I thought it was such an awesome juxtaposition on AT&T. Scotty, he has these moments where he hit that thing like 50 yards right off AT&T, and his follow through. You're like, God, that's the number 1 player in the world. Like that's what it looks like, And then Cam looks like it, right? Like I don't think we, the 4 of us, have talked about what an impressive move he puts on it. The pause at the top, the way he can load and just time it up and just swing that freely and hit that kind of draw with water up the left, both here at Doral and then also at the Players. Like it was like almost the same type of swing on 18. Not as much pressure here. Obviously, he's up by 6, but I just find his golf swing mesmerizing. And I find Scotty's like fascinating, but it's not like what you look up in 50 years in the dictionary. Like, show me pro golf swing. It's not really Scottie Scheffler swing. And sometimes you see him miss, you're like, oh my God. And then
swing on 18 looked like a seizure.
Through like this keyhole gap in the trees, hits the green, makes par. It's like, okay, that's why you're the
with
best.
the hazard left.
Yeah, I just found that specific moment is such a good juxtaposition of like Cam is the 5-tool, like can't miss prospect, and Scotty's just like this magician. And so that's it's beautiful because it's like they're both, obviously Scotty's better, but Cam looks the part. Let me put it that way.
Real quick, if we're being I think if you're going to make an argument for Cam to be the 2nd best player in the world right now, is it Rory, Cam, and then Scotty at the moment?
I just don't think you can have Cam ahead of Rory. I agree with that, TC. Like we just saw him in the biggest stage in golf, and Rory beat him.
And it was a duel between the two of them.
Yeah.
And he took him down.
And Scotty keeps finishing top 3, top 4 this year, but hasn't won since the desert at an Amex.
The last time, Randy, they were involved in a massive tournament, the players together, Cam won that battle. And I get that the Masters is a bigger deal than the players is, but I think he's the second best golfer in the world right now. I think he would, and he has been, from a strokes gained perspective, by far ahead of Rory over the last, basically since he switched the golf balls in August. Like over the last 8 months, I guess it would be. He's been decidedly the second best player in the world. Like, and it's not really even that close. Rahm would be third if you looked at that in strokes gained over that time period. But
that's not what we're looking at, though.
we're not looking at that. But I don't think this is the case, but I don't think he won't be longer than the third favorite at Aronimink, right? And I have not looked at PGA Championship odds as I asked that question. I think it'll be Scotty, Rory, and then Young will be the top 3 favorites. I have to think at Aronimink. Maybe Bryson's tied with him. Would you guys guess?
Right.
Venture guess? Does that feel right?
Yeah. Like
Ron
Cam's
feels
great.
like a good fit.
Don't get me wrong. I just was a little hung up on. I just don't think you can put Rory behind him right now. But you do you. Let me ask you this: for the group, who 28 years old, Neil mentioned, did not come out and set the world on fire on the PGA Tour. Like, what is this reminiscent of? I was trying to think this afternoon, like just trying to kind of place some historical context or a nice comparison. And I'm struggling with this 9-month run of Cam Young. And, when have we seen something like this before? I guess.
Can I just, before you do that, I guess what I was trying to say is he got a lot of attention. He didn't set the world on fire, but I remember it being like, oh, whoa, who is this guy? Like, it was an immediate, I thought Cam Young made a big first impression his rookie year, though. And it was, it's a matter of time before this guy's, he's second at Riv. I just remember him balling out all through that West Coast swing into the Masters. Was that 21 or 22? I can't remember what year it was.
He was in contention at the PGA at Southern Hills. I remember that. That was kind of that was in the middle of a really good run for him. I can let you know.
So anyway, Granny, back to your question. I just wanted to kind of correct that because I thought he made a splash, but you're right. He did not set the world on fire. But I remember being like, this guy, loud traits, as you like to say. Very loud traits.
But obviously not winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was T3 at the PGA that year. He had a T2 at Wells Fargo, had a T3 at RBC Heritage. He had a T2 at Genesis that year, and then was runner-up on his own at the Open Championship to Cam Smith after eagling the last hole. Finished T2 in his next start at the Rocket Mortgage as well. Just could not get over the hump. And the putting's been way better. Everything's been better. It's just it's kind of a post-high sleeper move. I saw this, Randy, and I don't know who to credit with this one, but I saw a Duval comparison, and I haven't put enough thought into that exactly.
Because Duval won those 4 kind of right in a row there.
And I don't know how old Duval was when he did that, but he wasn't like fresh out of college, young gun, right? Because it's a little post-type sleeper or post-type bounce back almost from Cam, because he was really good, not winning a lot. And then he was not that good and definitely not winning a lot. And now has just entered a stratosphere that I would not have been picturing a year ago at this moment. Other than what? Do you want to get in here and circle the wagons with this, Cody? Will you back me up on this leap I'm making here? I'm sticking my neck out.
Crazy. I mean, this goes back to last year. Sully wouldn't even put him on the team for so long. Now he's trying to recruit me on his side.
Truth comes out. Good call, Cody.
Check the tape on that one.
There is a lot of golf ball talk here, but it truly goes back to the putting. Him and his dad figured something out, and it just completely changed his game. Neil, you're right. I agree with you. 2022 was incredible. The only thing that we're like kind of missing now that I desperately miss is like a healthy Will Zalatoris out there doing crazy shit too.
Took the words out of my mouth.
That we would be like primo time. But the thing about Cam is that he just has very loud traits. The swing is stunning. The power is incredible. And now you match it up with putting and confidence. And it's like, man, I'm right there with you. Even though he is by far my favorite golfer on the PGA Tour, He's number 3 on the list still. And it's just hard to look past a Rory and a Scotty right now. And that's just kind of where I'm at. You can't put him ahead of Rory after what he did at the Masters.
I mean, as a guy that, called that penalty on himself on the second, I bet if you ask Cam, he'd say the same thing. I think he'd be like,
you should probably describe what he actually did, Sully.
Yeah, so he addressed his lift clean in place today. He puts his ball up on the tee, as he described to the rules official there, but set the club down, went to go take a swing, or went to go take it back, and the ball moved some. He stopped his swing. You couldn't really see it on camera, calls the rules official in and says what happened. The ball moved. I can't say for sure whether or not I moved it, but I was touching the ground and it fell forward. I had it teed up pretty good. Ultimately conclude that, yes, he did cause that to move. Had to put the ball back and then assess himself a one-shot penalty. Goes on to make par anyways during the putt on the green after hitting the green. But that was kind of a little bit of drama early on, but he kind of took the drama out by making the par anyways. But it's one, I mean, you kind of brush past it because it didn't really end up mattering, but I'm still like, dude, I feel like we tried to address this rule, and I feel like the intent base of the new rule system should have a little more coverage here. And if you're moving it back to the spot that it was in, I don't get why there's a penalty still the way that it's written. And it's still a lot to ask of, like, did you cause it to move? It's like when this happens on the green and greens are 14 on the stem, just tapping the ground right behind it cause it to move. Is that really your fault? And that's really got to be a penalty. And maybe it's different on the green. We're venturing into the uncharted, into territory we're not supposed to be in, me and Neil especially.
I was gonna say we need to ask Neil here. Neil, what's your take?
Well, I was gonna ask, like, then is it different on the tee box? Like when Zach Johnson hit it off the tee marker at Augusta.
Yeah. That's not in play yet. Yeah.
Not in play. Okay. So yeah, it's just like there's all these technicalities, man. It stinks. And then it looked like they went to replay on this one. Like that he called the rules official over, and then you bring in like the slow-mo camera. It's like, well, that's
it's like, what are we doing here?
What are we doing?
Sleepy tournament, Neil. They're looking for any sort of juice they possibly can.
I guess, man.
And he won on Bermuda. I will, like, that impresses me as much as anything about this week. It's a tough golf course. It's Dick Wilson, not my favorite. It's not my cup of tea down there as far as the test of golf that it is, but you got to hit your irons really well. You got to read grain. Like, there's a lot of grain down there. It just cracked me up. When
I ran in there and I came back, I think it was, I don't know, which is a short par 4 over like 300 yards of water.
Sure.
16.
60, is that 16?
Yeah.
And they're showing the fly over this hole, and I'm like, oh my God, there's bunkers everywhere, water. Like, yeah, this plane is the easiest hole on the course. It's just like, what?
Sends it.
It looks so scary, and it's just like no big deal. Oh, what if I just fly it over all of that? They're all just taking driver to the greenside bunker. That really made me laugh.
This week is a look into how much golf has changed, and it's been 12 years since we've seen it on the PGA Tour, something around then. And I know Liv was there. I can't pretend to have watched that, but
I was there, Solly.
Yeah, I know you were.
What do you want to know?
How much golf, like how much better like everybody is at golf this year, and how the wind lied down for it was windy a little bit on Saturday, but the wind lied down a little bit, and everybody just went out and started making birdies all over again on a 7,800-yard golf course, and just making the what was supposed to be the challenges in their way just non-factors for the most of the field. But what
Solly, real quick, the PGA Championship odds as they stand right now: Scotty plus 350, Rory plus 650, Rahm and Bryson plus 1,200, Cam plus 1,400, Xander plus 1,700, Fitzpatrick plus 1,800.
Man, you might go put a few nuggies on that plus 1,400 right now while it's still there.
You were asking about comps, Randy. One thing that I did think of today, though, is in a much smaller time period. It kind of feels like 2024 Xander to me. I don't know if this leap is going to be 3 years long, but it's decided. It is clear, and it is a different level that this player has reached. And I don't know how long it's going to last, but like Xander was pretty clearly the second best player in the world in 2024, and maybe I'm a bit premature in saying that about Cam, but I feel like he's going to be there if he's not already there. So
can I give you one other comp that I was thinking of is Jason Day. Kind of well-rounded game. I remember him catching my attention early on in his career. And then kind of just bummed. I don't want to say bummed around, but didn't really get. Like, I feel like I picked him to win the Masters like 4 years in a row. Didn't do it. Still hasn't won the Masters
this year too, right?
Anything. Yeah. No, this year. No, this year I didn't. I didn't get sucked in, Randy. And then he becomes number 1 player in the world. Wins the PGA kind of later on in his career. He kind of got settled, and I would say had that later breakthrough.
He had that real nice. As I'm looking, he won in 2014. He won in 2010, and then he won in 2014. But then he had monster 2015 and carried it over a little bit the next year. Won the Players in 16. I
just remember being impressed by Jason Day's like power and golf swing, but also just the well-rounded putting. It was like, oh man, this guy can putt it like that. So just kind of really polished and I don't know, like elegant looking golf swing.
Respectfully, Neil, we want none of that bad juju over here. Jason Day, always injured. The wrist cam's always got taste wrist going on.
Sure.
We don't want any of the back. Vertigo, you guys remember Vertigo?
Vertigo's tough.
Rolling around it.
We don't want none of that.
God, some electric moments with the Vertigo.
I mean, you take the major though, Cody, wouldn't you?
Yeah, we would. Yeah, we would. But if please, I think there's got to be somebody else out there.
Oh, well, Day won he won like 5 out of 12 starts at one point, or 6 out of 13, or something like that. So I think you'll take the golf success of Jason Day, even if it comes with a little bit of injuries.
But that 2015, that's a good call. He was what, 28-ish years old. We're fishing in similar ponds, Neil. I actually had another guy that's won 13 times on the PGA Tour with 1 major, coincidentally, just like Jason Day. Did not win till he was 29 after flashing early. He's a great man.
Justin Rose?
Justin Rose. I know their games aren't all that similar, but just a little bit career arc. I don't know.
Real quick, Team Rose's great man status might be in doubt right now.
We should talk about that.
He shot up the board today, TC T65 now with a final round 68. So absolutely.
TC, is that his iron numbers weren't good this week?
They weren't. It was tough.
It's like a vanity.
I have Hanma, flashbacks going on.
Yeah. What are we doing?
If you don't know the news, Justin Rose switched to McLaren, a new golf brand owned by the McLaren, same folks that own the McLaren F1 team, which in my head I was like, long way to go. He may do great with this, but I was like, no way he makes the same mistake twice. He must know exactly what he's doing here, and that's just not a great start to it. I'm not willing to. We're not going to dance on this grave just yet, but just a bizarre
seems like a
move.
tough time of year to do it too.
Yeah,
you got 2 majors upcoming in the next 6 weeks.
It's like, homie, you could have just done the Live thing. We've been celebrating for 4 years how you didn't go to Live. It's like, man, you could have just done that and kept your golf clubs. But yeah, maybe it works out great. Who am I to say? We don't know. But a lot to discuss here from the Cadillac still. But guys, I've been looking forward to this one. I really have. I've been waiting for these to show up. They have showed up at my door. If you haven't noticed the little purple band around the top of the fresh delivery, High Noon. I waited till showtime to have one today. It was a perfect day for an outdoor transfusion, but I did not get one. They have brought the #1 golf drink to their vodka seltzer lineup, and that is the Transfusion. You can get it now, but not for a long time since they only dropped a limited amount. It's got an irresistible grape taste, crafted with real vodka, real juice, sparkling water, and a hint of ginger and lime. Again, it's here for a short time, so grab it before it disappears. If you see it anywhere, hoover it up. Just get to those shelves, use both hands if you need to, get as many as you can, put them on ice and save them for a sunny day, because this is delicious. This is wonderful. And thank you, High Noon, for bringing these into our lives.
First sip.
Syrupy.
Neil and I haven't tried them yet.
Can really?
Yeah.
This too.
It's been fusion time down here in Jack's for a minute.
That's nice. Hints at good ginger in there.
Yeah, I get a lot of ginger. It's good.
Kind of grape forward, and then some ginger,
but it's not heavy
stuff on the back end. Yeah, it's not heavy. Yeah, that's nice.
Here for a good time, not a long time, people. Come on, pick them up.
Get out there, check it out. High Noon. Thank you to them for supporting our shows as always, guys. What was this event? What were we doing here? This was tough. 0 crowds out there for the most part. 0 energy. Nance and Trevor were doing their best to build a little excitement in. I know the 6-shot lead didn't help any of it. What happened here? Who's to blame? what are we doing? I think this event has 4 more years in the contract, God. I think. And I guess, I don't know, it kind of makes me want to ask a lot of questions as to what makes a signature event, what makes a good tournament here. But what was the issue with this? TC, I'll start with you. Does the tour have a problem here with the commitment they've made to this venue and this event?
I mean, it depends on what they're trying to get out of it, right? I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it was smart for them to go up against the F1 race in Miami this weekend. Like, that's one thing right there. There was storms going on. I don't think attendance was ever great for the Doral event. Like, it never seemed like it was, when it was the WGC and you know, all of that, it never seemed like it was all that well supported to begin with. South Florida's just kind of a different animal. And then it makes you wonder too, a little bit. I think there's a lot of credence to the concerns people have about the various quote unquote big markets that Roll-Up has espoused, that, or, you know, that has basically said, hey, we want to go to these big markets. We want to, and I think there is something to be said for certain places that don't get a bunch of big events, you know, across the sporting landscape, really turning out and showing out for, you know, the PGA Tour when it comes to town. And I don't think anybody batted an eye in South Florida.
TC, we were talking about that. We were all together on a trip, and Solly, I know you and I were talking about it, but I have been thinking about that big market, small market, that big market comment from Roll-Up at the players press conference. I'm like, man, I think that might be true for other sports, but for golf, you might want to be the big fish in the little pond. And big markets do matter, but they matter for the PGA Championship, or maybe there are tournaments that could float around to come to a big market, so it's special once every 4 years or whatever, similar to how BMW does it. But I'm just not sure, like, on paper or in a spreadsheet, the big market argument looks obvious, but it's like, man, this is a great example of, and again, I picked a weird week to circle back to Florida with the F1 race. Like, there's a lot of, you know, variables here, but I just don't know if you're ever really going to be like a big deal in a place like Miami
if you're going to go to somewhere like that, you better do a damn good job at marketing it and turning it into a full-on experience. Because last year I went to the Liv Miami event on Sunday, and this didn't look honestly, this looked less smart, more sparsely attended than the Liv event based on everything I saw. And they didn't have the Cleeks Garden Party.
I feel like the Live event might play better in Miami than a PGA Tour one. Like concert, music, you know, maybe like a little Bitcoin activation, you know, all kinds of stuff going on at the Live event.
Don't turn me into a Live fan here, Neil. We got some bad news this week on the Live front, but it made me like do a lot of thinking on what the future of this structure is going to look like, and that's where I looked up the contract. I'm like, wait a second here, how committed are they to making this happen? Because the signature events have been a success, I think, overall. I think that's clear. It's helped retain talent on the PGA Tour, helped the tour win the war. It helped ratings, and it's clearly better than like the old flat setup of PGA Tour events. But like I don't think they've gone far enough with it. Like, I just don't know how you call an event a signature event or an elevated event or whatever you want to call it, and have guys like voluntarily skip it, as many guys did as this one. Like, you're just kind of you're kind of getting the worst of both worlds of like trying to say a certain event is elevated, which the whole point of that was you get everyone together or almost everyone together. And I know that's not technically the rule, but you can't just slap that on there and then have a bunch of guys miss and pretend like it's the same as, you know, another real serious elevated big event. And I don't know. It's got to. I just don't know if they need as many of these as they're saying they're going to have either. And they got to get, I don't know how you're going to do this. Have as many as Roll-Up says there's going to be, and have them fall in the right way that it fits all the top guys' schedules of, do guys want to play the week after a major? Do they want to play before? They definitely don't want to play the 2 weeks, both of the 2 weeks leading up into a major. I just don't know why they needed to jam a second one in here. I know the money came about from Cadillac, and they're not going to turn away $20 million from a sponsor right now. But hopefully this was a bit of a wake-up call to say, like, you're not going to be able to just slap a name on some of these events and have that resonate with fans. The money, the cash is going to, the check's going to cash, players are going to get paid, but that does not mean it's going to resonate with people.
Which I think that's where you got to give probably the spot that you got to give them the most leeway on Roll-Up, that is fixing the incentive model, right? And he said, hey, like, we're going to make it so that it's going to hurt if these guys do want to skip one of the big time events. Because it sucks. Like, you know, to your point, I think we'll have 3 signature events in a row where Scotty, you know, like there's no Scotty or Roar. Like it's kind of one or the other based on how it's worked. But, and, you know, guys have said, like, I only want to play 18 to 20 times a year, not 24 to 26 times a year, which is what the new model.
One other thing I'd add here, the signature model elevated like Riv and Heritage and
Historical
places
events.
that had some
Yes.
context. This is the
Yep.
first time they just parachuted in and were like, yo, check it out. New
Doesn't work
event.
that way.
It didn't have a sponsor. It was just Miami for up until like the beginning of the year. I feel like I kept seeing just a hold for potential title sponsor. That you can't just invent that. I mean, at least there's, you know, I'm always like, it's Heritage, a signature event. And then I watch and I'm like, yeah, this is sweet. It's awesome to watch all these guys play there. This one's like, what are, you know, it feels more like an exhibition.
It stunk as a WGC. Right. It stunk as the Ford Championship.
I was getting WGC flashbacks this week, man. Honestly, of just like
you got guys 25 shots off the pace, like no cut. It's like will you please cut these guys?
We're falling into old bad habits, PGA Tour. You know, we're falling back at, you know, we said we weren't going to do that anymore. No, I'll just have one more. It's no big deal.
And I'm going to keep harping on this because I feel like this should be a bigger discussion topic. I still just, the fact that, this isn't going to ladder up to anything where there should be a really cool race for some of the top seeds if this thing ended in a playoff, like in a match play playoff bracket, like it should. But like finishing third is going to mean the same as finishing 20th. Other than the payout you get at the end of the regular season, it's going to be the same when you get to the Tour Championship. And none of this, the jockeying between Cam and Scotty and Fitzpatrick around the tops, like, should be interesting right now. And it's just not going to be. And they got to solve that part of it. Because then if the event is going to stink, like, at least there's like a little bit of incentive in there in the season long race. And they took that from like a 3 out of 10 down to a 1 out of 10 with the new system. And I hate every bit of it. It's got to change.
Hey, can we just, throw in some stuff against the wall real quick? TC's talking about incentive structures. You want to get these guys playing back-to-backs. They should have some kind of like accelerator or like heat check where it's like, all right, if you're coming off a big win, but you want to take a week off, it's like, don't do that because we could splash the pot.
Tilt.
Yeah, throw them on tilt. Exactly. Like throughout the season, it's like, oh, well, but now you just tripled your money, so don't take a week off, and to see like if a guy will keep coming to the table like that. I don't know. Like, if you want the season-long stuff to matter, maybe there's something to some type of tilt situation.
I like that. It's kind of like double, triple jeopardy, where it's like, hey,
like Fitzpatrick, keep it up, baby. Like let's
name your how much are you willing to wager here?
Yes. And then it's like, well, he might be stealing it from, well, that money's coming out of everybody else's the purse. Like he's just sucking the money up to the winner. And so then they're all like, oh, we got to beat this guy. You know what I mean? That could create some drama. Anyway,
the only thing I was going to say, and I know you guys are kind of working on a future schedule reimagined episode.
I mean, Randy, we've been working on, reimagining the future schedule since 2018.
Right. My only, as a fan, we just can't go back to Florida. We left Florida behind us. We once we hit Augusta, we're not going back to Florida. We don't want to see lots of ponds and lakes and Florida golf. I think this event, they just wanted to get it going, and I have to think it's bumped up into March, right? I don't know if it's like this and Bay Hill leading into the Players, but it is just wildly miscast here. And May in Miami, you're going to a big market where the winter, people are outside all winter. It's not like people are starved to get out in the nice weather in Miami, which I think is a different consideration when you talk about some other big markets where it's like, hey, everybody's been inside. The weather's just starting to get good. Let's go out and watch golf. You never have that in Miami.
Yeah,
so yeah. I would suspect this is, they're going to do something drastic with the timing and placement of this event.
I think you're right, Randy. And I think that I don't want to go back to this golf course and I don't want to do this again. But if they were to, 2 weeks before the Masters would make sense. 2 weeks after the Players and 2 weeks before the Masters. We'd kind of circled that as like that's probably a prime spot for a signature event in 2028, probably maybe even 2027. That would make more sense than this, with this just sprint up to the PGA that is clearly not working, and you have guys skipping. This can't work. PGA Tour is not out of the woods yet with all this stuff. Liv's gonna sounds like Liv's gonna go away, but like you still got to nail this structure. And I know we're
right back where we started.
I know, and that's not what we're going for here. And I don't think that's where they're going to end up. I think these are serious people that are going to do some serious things, but we got to call it when we see it. Of like, that wasn't it. All right, and they can't be like that.
I hate to hear that for the kids in Houston, Solly. Just hating the children's hospital. I will say this: you led this section with "we can't turn down Cadillac money." Well, why can't we? Because the PGA Tour just got a massive infusion of cash. I don't think I know we probably don't want to go down this route, but I don't think we have this tournament on the schedule because of the money. I think it happens to be a lot with who the host of the tournament is.
I agree.
And that's something that the PGA Tour needs to wrestle and figure out where they're actually at.
Which perhaps we can go to TPC.
East Potomac.
TPC East Potomac in the future for that, because we'll get to that. Fuck that.
Cody, I hear what you're saying. It was like, I think we just need to make this happen this year. It doesn't really matter where, and then let's figure it out once we kind of shuffle everything up after this year.
And I would say, Cody, in a single year, the $20 million or whatever it costs Cadillac is not a big deal, not what they're looking for. But if you got somebody right now coming to you wants to sign a long-term deal in the hundreds of millions to sponsor your signature event series, I don't think they're overflowing on those currently. And that's the stuff that like helps them model out, make this model look sustainable and not have to pull on the $1.5 billion that they haven't touched still to this point.
There's got to be, there's smart people in there though. You got to understand when you stack all these events up against that, something is being devalued.
For sure. I totally agree.
The talent cannot play 4 or 5 weeks in a row. We know that. So they're devaluing either this event, which I don't know what they came on board though, or what guarantees they're made, or Truist, somebody who's been in the bucket, maybe not that company that sells, but a long-term Charlotte event there. It's just weird how you rack and stack, and then when you couch it as like you can't turn down that money. Well, we've been told over the last 2 years that the money is not the issue. It's always nice to have more of it, but they're swimming in it. So why would they go, I guess, at the lengths to like potentially mess up their calendar unless they truly just have no clue what the calendar is going to shake out to be?
That's a good point. One thing I'd add to that, Cody, is it does feel like on the spreadsheet, if you're lining these up on the spreadsheet, you see like Masters. It's like, all right, that's the starting gun. Now let's. Oh, these are big weeks through here, and it's like, oh man, they all just start to
suck.
Yeah, it's just like too much. Like you gotta like let the you go you're gonna hit me with a heritage signature, and then it's like, oh my god, like there's no place to get it for anybody to like miss golf at all. Meanwhile, you've got all these April's like, other than what, September, the best sports month on the calendar. I mean, NBA playoffs are heating up, hockey's on, baseball's back in kind of in the swing of things. It just feels like and then the PGA is looking at it like, oh no, this is peak golf season. Everyone's all jacked up after the Masters. But really, on the spreadsheet, it looks that way. But really, it's like, no, everyone's having like a letdown after the Masters. It's like, oh man, I need to step away for a minute. At least maybe that's how I feel. I don't know.
Going back to Cadillac, exactly I also got the sense that Cadillac didn't like, they weren't trying to put up this money. They were basically told to. Like, hey, you guys have to put up this money. So it's, it just seems like there's a lot of parties here that aren't necessarily doing this by, of their own volition. Right.
And Cody, they might be swimming in cash, but they are like, Kapalua got cut from the schedule because the sponsor wasn't, like, in part for a lot of reasons, but in part the sponsor wasn't putting up the full amount of the purse. Like they were signed on for $15 million and the purse was $20 million. It became uneconomical to continue to have that tournament. Like this group still has to play by like financial rules that Liv was not,
probably more than ever.
Yeah. Like you still got to build a model that is sustainable, and they're priding themselves on not touching this $1.5 billion. I can't tell you the exact reason why. other than it's not a pile of money for them to just burn through. Like the expectations here are obviously that they have to have a business that's going to, the dollars need to make sense, despite, what you may read on the Everything app. And that's so that might lead to some things we really don't like. I have a lot of faith in Roll Up, and I like a lot of things what he's had to say, but it doesn't mean everything's going to go great.
When you say it like that, Solly, we traded Kabalua for Doral. It's like, oh man, in like a worse spot on the calendar. Like I'm dying to watch golf in January. I don't really feel like watching golf today. You know what I mean? That's a tough trade when you phrase it that way.
And I know I imagine the 28th schedule is either gonna have something ongoing in Denver, or they're gonna they really want to get to Nashville. They're dying to get to Nashville.
So they want hot that right now.
So
hot.
We're gonna get some markets that may not be courses that we like, but they're gonna be markets that they want to go to, hell or high water.
Yeah. So. You want to go down the board a little bit, TC?
Yeah, there's not that much to go down. First of all, we don't have a new Fedora 5 tonight. I'm catching some flack from the guys for it. Just to rehash, we got the Fitzpatrick brothers, Jackson Coyven, who's getting a lot of chatter out there. Like, will Jackson Coyven be on the Ryder Cup team next year? Listen,
will he, TC?
Here first. I think he will. I think he should be on the President's Cup team this coming year, just to get him some experience. Rory was third, Cam Young was fourth, P was fifth. No change this week. We will account for this, for these performances from this week in the next iteration of the Fedora 5.
TC, I have a question.
Yeah.
Is the Fedora 5 co-ed, or is it?
I don't know, Randy. That's a tough question.
Okay.
And I've been told that
because it should be. TC,
if you go broke, you go broke. And Lauren Coughlin got really upset with me that she didn't make the Fedora 5 after Vegas.
Just make a women's Fedora 5.
Hannah Green. Yeah, I know. And
like the TGL.
Exactly. But no, we should integrate the ladies into the Fedora 5. It's tricky. It's tricky.
We're not doing it. Should do it.
I just thought, maybe I know we're going to talk about Nelly in a bit, but that would be the only.
Yeah. Just maybe, TC.
Maybe.
Anyway, back to the task at hand. Going down the leaderboard. Good week for Ben Griffin.
I'd like to issue a mea culpa. I was dancing on his grave a little bit pre-Masters. Benny Booms is back. He's had a few good showings here the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Pretty much on the same pace as last year. Like kind of started slow and then
same time in the calendar.
Yeah. So really solid week. 68 on the weekend. Adam Scott 66-64 on the weekend to finish T4. Overcomes an opening round 76. Moves him up to 16th in the all-important FedEx Cup standings. Ryder Cup lock Sepp Straka, 68-66 on the weekend, T4. Siwoo, if he would have putted a little bit better, I think he's probably sniffing around a little bit more. He's also T4. Alex Smalley.
He might become Siwoo if he putted a little bit better. Kim might be his full name.
We got a troika of Alex's next on the board. Alex Noren, Alex Smalley, Alex Fitzpatrick.
Alex
Smalley,
Fitzpatrick. Sheesh.
Yeah.
Good follow-up, brother.
Epic driver off the deck this week, too. But yeah, I'm sure the Mules are just incensed right now. He's up to 39th in the FedEx Cup now. And Smalley, props to Smalley. I think Smalley's going to win this year. I think he is.
Probably right.
And it'll be a fantastic family affair, I'm sure.
Can I just say, I think Zurich is coming out as a winner of the last 2 or 3 years just by being different. Like, do I need to watch the Zurich? No, but like this is great. It's like how Alex Fitzpatrick, come on through, brother. Partner event. That's good stuff.
Good week for Matt McCarty. He moves up to 31st in the all-important FedEx Cup. Lucas Glover, I had to look and see. He finished top 50 last year. FedEx Cup, that's what gets him into the signature events. He moves from 147th to 109th with this T14 finish. Raitan, kind of a tough Sunday. Couple doubles. Bogey to par 5. Shoots 73, but still a productive week for him. Jordan Spieth. Solly, he kind of just Spiethian performance, trying to get up and down from everywhere especially on Saturday. Got off to a good start, 65 and just 75 on Saturday. So T18 for him.
God, following up 65 with 3 rounds in the 70s just doesn't look good on the board here, guys.
So close though. He's so close.
So close.
He lost almost 6 shots approaching the green over the weekend.
Love that he's a left dash guy like me now, though. That's exciting.
Yeah, did put a new golf ball in play.
It's pretty volatile. Like, you look at this board, and like most guys had a round or two above par. Like, shot 68, 75, 70, stuff like that. So, we got Michael Kim, Tommy, Justin Thomas played all right.
Stinky stuff from Tommy TC. I just
when are we gonna
acknowledge that before we
get concerned with Tommy?
Concerned. He's
70, 70.
The question was, when are we going to get concerned?
Well, we're not going to get concerned anytime soon. Like, if he no shows at Aronimink and Shinnecock, yeah, we're concerned. He's the reigning domestic champion golfer of the year. So, who else? Max got a sponsor exemption.
Max was in off of his FedEx Cup rank, actually.
You're right,
TC.
you're right.
Sponsor exemption next week.
Keith Mitchell got a sponsor exemption. None of them really parlayed it into much this week. So, anyway, let's move on from the Cadillac.
We can move on. Neil, I know you got to bounce. I do.
Big travel. Got to hit some bedtimes, gentlemen. I'm sure you can understand. So I appreciate you letting me out of class early. It's always a pleasure to chop it up with you on a Sunday night.
Thanks for being here, man. Best to the fam. Want
That's all
to
you do, Neil.
Bang-a-lang, Randy.
Some other fun-ish notes from the week. Not that fun, actually. But yeah, Christopher Wrighton, he got in when Jake Knapp withdrew. And his caddy, he had to find a backup. His swing coach, Denny Lucas, actually had to pick up his bag because his caddy, Tim Poyser, flew to Scotland thinking he would not get in the event, then had to fly back and made it back in time for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday rounds. Wrighton, I don't know what we're going to commit to here, but he was in the hunt in the early part of this week. Shot 70, 68, 69, 73 in the final round.
Tough double on the last today.
Yeah.
What a top 10.
Solly, with a week, 10 days behind us now. We had the last news dump, the Jim Furyk news dump. There still hasn't been a press conference. He did some weird derby activations there. He announced his 2 of his ass captains, Justin Leonard and Stu Cink. We feeling better? We feeling worse? About the same? There's rumors of Scouts Inc. no longer working with the team.
I don't know whether or not that's true or not. I said specifically last week that I didn't want to literally name 2 names. I didn't want to do the Stu Cink, Justin Leonard thing was what I said last week. And they named those 2 guys as assistant captains this week. I was trying to take the most optimistic look into the captaincy last week of like, all right, the guy's learned. He's got to know we got to do things a little different. And it could be wrong on this, but it very much looks like
wants to bet the pony.
Comically similar model to kind of the worst of what's been going on with Team USA. I have nothing against Justin Leonard or Stu Cink. It just they don't seem like the group of guys that's going to really galvanize this group and create an identity and create something for them to I don't want to say bond together, but like give a shit in a totally different way. I don't picture that as being the group. I could be wrong. It still has the ability to round out the group with some younger assistant captains that might be able to change the culture a little bit, but I don't think the culture is going to change with what they have right now. And it's a big task at Adair anyways, and they're probably better off losing by a bunch in that one and then really upsetting the apple cart ahead of Hazeltine in 2029. That's really where I'm at.
It's like when somebody hates their team so much, they're just like, let's just tank for the draft pick.
Yeah, Reds just got swept this week. I'm kind of interested in bad team mood right now.
Solly, you can't bail on a team you had already counted out.
It's true. It's very true. But it's actually I'm looking forward to this Ryder Cup cycle a lot more. Now that he can't hurt me, it is a lot more fun.
It's just such a strange rollout. Like, it almost seems like they're embarrassed of the whole thing. Right? Like, they haven't really done anything to like the Keegan announcement seemed like a really huge deal last go around, and this just seems like, oh, by the way, yeah, we named our captain. Like, don't ask us any questions about it.
Also, I meant to note this earlier. Keegan did sit Cameron Young in the first session, also at Bethpage, as we were discussing him maybe being one of the best top 3 players in the world. Just a reminder, Keegan sat him first.
You didn't even want him on the team.
Yeah, you didn't want him on the team. So.
Well, that's completely untrue. He was definitely one of my captain's picks ahead of last year, Cody. So I don't know where you're getting
Also, Ryder Cup tickets are up 640% since 2010 at Celtic Manor, which is pretty wild.
Inflation, baby.
Inflation. Yeah, what do you everything else is up about that much.
What do you do about that though? Right? I mean, if you're one of these organizations putting this on and you know that's what the secondary ticket market is going to get.
No, I know.
Would you rather that's where I'm just like, dude, yeah, sports are expensive now. I wish it wasn't the case, but you know, supply and demand works in a certain way. And I'd rather those organizers get the money than ticket brokers or anything like that is kind of where I'm at. I don't love it, but am I missing part of the story there? Is my question.
No, I think that's fair. It's just jarring how sudden it's been. Because even for Marco Simone, I think it was pretty affordably priced, right? It was, you know, under $200 per ticket. Now it's, you know, it's basically 500. So.
When I don't know when we went to Adair Manor and I heard we knew the Ryder Cup was going to be going there. At no point was I like, oh, I bet those tickets will be a good deal. Literally, it was like, oh shit, that's going to be an expensive place to host a Ryder Cup. But
you guys must be chilling in way too many collectors markets, because like just because the secondary value is up there, that doesn't like set what the baseline price of the item is. You know, that's how you end up with like $6,000 putters in this word life that we live in. I agree with.
No, it just means
where you're coming from.
The organization putting it on is getting a larger cut of
the market value of the ticket.
What the total outlay is.
Yes.
I don't know anything about the $6,000 putters out there, but that's a physical object versus like an event experience where
some say memories are priceless. You know,
it's also not a very good experience.
It's not. If you want to see golf, it's a great experience, but if you want to see golf, it's not. And the European ones are more fun than the American ones have been, at least in recent years. But
can we talk Blockie,
please?
Go right ahead.
I mean, there was all sorts of aura farming from him. I saw him barking at the ball to go in the hole on the 9th hole at Bandon Dunes. I don't think it went anywhere close to the hole, but then he hit an exceptional shot on like ocean, like waves crashing in the background.
His shot was so sick.
Way out to the right. And he hits it and then he just kind of saunters off to the right. And I don't know that. And then he had a nod to the haters in, one of his quotes afterwards. And then he did a whole reel in the car afterwards as well. That was just, he just said, for all the haters, whatever, be haters. So Randy, what say you?
What say you? Guys, I'm a little in a precarious position here. It started with a couple of clips that I saw of him telling the ball to go in the hole, missing the green completely. I'm not sure. I guess let me ask you guys this. Do you think Block is now in on the joke, or do you think he's like so far down the road we've completely lost him?
I thought you were going a different direction. I thought you were about to flip on Blockie and become a huge fan.
Well, I think if he's in on the joke, which I'm starting to sense he might be in on the joke, then I might be coming around on him, but I don't know.
I think he's aware of the joke and not in on the joke. And awareness has made it potentially worse. Of like doing the appeal of like appealing to the haters in the post round or whatever it is like I see you hating and you're wrong here. All right, I'm the dude, and I don't know if that's to be celebrated. That's my interpretation.
Okay, all right.
Randy, I will say, like, he's with Malbin now. He's got all sorts of, like, he's just got all the juice right now.
He does seem pretty juiced up at the moment.
You think he gets a feature pairing at Aronimink?
It's interesting.
I think the new leadership at the obviously they want to showcase their Corbridge financial team, of course, but I imagine that they're probably pretty aware of it, and they want to spread the love to some of the other members of the Corbridge financial team.
Yeah, I guess on the what would be the worst is if Blockie's just desperately trying to reach for relevance any way he can, and if that's the case, it's not good. If he's in on the joke and just having fun and he knows exactly what he's doing, then I'm kind of in on it. I need to see more. I think Aronimink's going to be a big test for my relationship with Blockie.
Okay.
So TC, I know that I know that's maybe not.
Oh, that's fine.
Let's put that on the storyline
as
list.
he would have wanted, but I think we're in wait and see mode right now.
Storyline list for the PGA preview.
I think Aronimink could be a pretty good course fit for Blockie.
It kind of could.
Donald Ross, not that dissimilar.
Yay or nay made cut for Blockie at Aronimink. I think I'm taking yay.
God, I hope they have odds on whatever gambling. I still remember the odds they put Blockie up on his Colonial first round.
Dude, I was there at Colonial. The hype after Oak Hill. Oh my God, going right into that. I went out and followed him. And the second hole, he hit the center of the golf ball with a lob wedge, and it went 68 yards over the green. It went so far over the green after he did 35 interviews between Sunday and this Thursday tee time.
And then Friday,
he was signing autographs mid-round.
He sat there and had beers for like 3 hours afterwards and just hung out with the people. But it's turned into like this 10 minutes of fame could be 10 years of fame for Blockie.
Is Blockie going to end up in the World Golf Hall of Fame, do you think? I feel like that's the way we're going.
Blockie and Luke Elvey's tweets, I think, what we'll remember most from this era, things that should be put in the World Golf Hall.
How did Blockie never get affiliated with Liv? That's going to be the biggest.
Anybody that doesn't, or like how hasn't Blockie done a bunch of stuff like joined Good?
Right. He did.
Like
he did, didn't he?
I think he was wearing
maybe it was his clothing.
Yeah. Where I think Blockie, like Randy, if Blockie, there should be like a if you lose to Blockie, you have to forfeit your next signature event start or whatever to Blockie. Like there should be stakes.
I like that
on the line.
All right, let's remember that for PGA week. That's a good one.
I think he did just wear their attire. This is what I think happened back in 2023. Speaking of attire, let's give a shout out to our friends at Holderness and Bourne. The spring color palette is here, and it's fantastic. Tangerine, Tudor, Vista Blue, and Belmont. And it is time to stock up on some bottoms. The Harwood short is a game changer. The Anson pant is fantastic. The McDaniel pant, another game changer. They also got some great activewear, off-course activewear. The Saunders short, it's great for the gym, your run, just lounging, whatever it may be. This is the Lawson hoodie. Is that right, TC? You know this is a good one. I spent my hard-earned American dollars on one of these at the Tree Farm because I knew how good this material is, and I wanted to rep TC's club as well. But they're in shops everywhere. They got all kinds of great stuff. The new Swing Knit collection as well. They have their off-course performance button-downs. Gives you a polished look of a dress shirt with the comfort of your favorite polo, and it pairs great with chinos or jeans for office days, casual get-togethers, weekend travel. There's no dry cleaning required. Easy care, that was a huge one for me. I hated going to the dry cleaners back when I had to wear collared shirts to work and things like that. Makes for really easy care, and it's really good quality material. It's got great stretch as well. It just feels like you're wearing like pajamas. So the U.S. Open collection.
Get H&B to do a mock neck for Neil. I think that needs to be the next step, like an elevated mock neck.
We will consult with them on that one. The U.S. Open collection is also live online as well. And you can use code NLU10, get you 10% off at hbgolf.com. Again, this is still the only discount code on the market for Holderness and Bourne. NLU10 at hbgolf.com will get you 10% off your order there. Check them out. Just go check it out. It's really, really, really good stuff. And check them out whenever you're shopping in a pro shop or somewhere where you're playing some golf. They make amazing stuff. Don't sleep on
their t-shirts either.
They're amazing.
Oh, it's my travel go-to.
Perhaps the main event for this week, just a massive, massive length of news related items on the Liv Golf front. I'm going to go through some of them. I'm going to maybe put it on you guys, Cody included, to raise your hand when it's time to pause and talk about what we've just learned here and what it all means. So I'm going to go until you guys stop me on some news stuff, if that works. It's a long week. On Monday, WDSU in New Orleans or in Louisiana reported that the Liv Golf event planned for New Orleans was likely to be postponed. The Athletics shortly after that reported that it is postponed. Liv later announced the postponement as well, saying in coordination with the governor of Louisiana and Louisiana Economic Development, we have made the strategic decision to explore moving Liv Golf Louisiana to a new window later this fall. This allows us to shift to avoid the peak summer heat and the crowded global sports calendar while ensuring the course is in championship condition. Our fans and players expect. We are grateful for the continued partnership and flexibility of the state of Louisiana as we work together to deliver a world-class debut this fall. Our team is focused on maintaining the strong momentum of 2026 season, and we look forward to sharing finalized dates in the near future. I'm going to put my hand up on that one if you guys aren't going to as well. This event was scheduled for late June. They are announcing that they want to move it because it's a crowded spot on the sports calendar and the peak summer heat. Also of note, Liv does not have a fall season that this event will be moving into. Of course, there were economic reasons for this when the announcements came out. The state of Louisiana basically reached out to say until there's a longer term financial plan for this, we don't know if we want to put this on. It has led to there was money sent from the state of Louisiana to Liv that some has been paid back. There's money that's been put into the golf course as a part of this deal as well. But yeah, it wasn't necessarily the peak summer heat and the course conditions that were forcing this event to be moved. It is undoubtedly for financial reasons that it is moving to this fall.
Very funny that the governor of Louisiana and Secretary Bourgeois said, first, we want to thank Zurich and the PGA Tour leadership for another outstanding tournament this past weekend. Like, just twisting the knife there. I think Liv needs a fall series. A silly season.
Might they become a fall series?
Maybe a serious season. What if their fall season was serious?
So this now creates a hole in the Liv Golf calendar. There are no events scheduled between June 7th and July 23rd. First thing that came to mind for me there was this gives Rahm plenty of opportunity to add 2 DP World Tour events and take the deal that DP World Tour offered him if he were to want to maintain that membership and become stay on the Ryder Cup team, I imagine, for next year. So haven't heard any news on that front since then, but I would have to imagine that is a good opportunity for him there.
Solly, as your guy Flush has been saying, he's too principled for that. He's just too principled.
Later on that week, this past week, Wall Street Journal reported on Wednesday that Liv will be planning to tell players and staff by Thursday that the PIF would end its funding for the Upstart League. There was a little confusion around this. It was kind of already reported that this was the case, whatever, we've already told them. But I think the difference here was that the message to the board and to everyone was it is no longer being funded beyond 2026 from that official message being passed down from Liv leadership, that not only they are funded through 2026, but we're not exploring a possibility where Liv will be funded by the PIF in 2027. That was kind of the news of the week. Liv did come out with an announcement on Thursday, said they're focused on securing long-term financial partners to support its transition from a foundational launch phase to a diversified multi-partner investment model. This is my favorite line in there. This strategic evolution accelerated by the league's record-breaking performance in 2026. So Liv has just been so successful that it's actually accelerated when they need to bring in outside investment, and has accelerated the PIF not wanting to be involved in it anymore, to translate that sentence. So also announced the creation of an independent board with 2 new members, Gene Davis and John Zinman. Davis is the CEO of a consulting firm that specializes in turnaround management with past and current clients that include Spirit Airlines and Weight Watchers. Tough week for that to come out before Spirit Airlines went under this past week.
Yeah, that's tough.
Sports Business Journal also reported Yasser has stepped down, of course, as chairman of the league's board. Golf Digest reported this week that several agents for Liv players have reached out to the PGA Tour about a return. The people familiar with the conversation say a path back to the PGA Tour will exist, though the conditions are expected to be considerably more restricted than those granted to Brooks Koepka.
Tour, baby.
The returning member program is not expected to be renewed, and the 11 players who joined the antitrust suit against the PGA Tour are expected to face additional scrutiny. That group includes DeChambeau, Phil Mickelson, Taylor Gooch, and Ian Poulter. Pausing there to say what's happening here with these players. All right, we can have a little put a pin in Liv for 2027. Maybe there is a season, maybe it's changed. We'll get to that. If you want to leave Liv, what's it going to look like? What's a realistic path back for these guys to get back to the PGA Tour now? Both returning member program. Let's do the Bryson, Rahm, Cam Smith group now, and anybody else if they want to make it back to the PGA Tour. Now that this is getting real, what do you think this looks like, TC?
I think it depends on the guy. I think if you're obviously the lawsuit stuff complicates matters. I think if you're rank and file, Boutros, Tringale, or someone of that ilk, go play the Korn Ferry Tour, big dog. Start at the bottom and work your way back up if you even want to. I would imagine Bryson. I don't know what Bryson's desire to play week to week on the PGA Tour is.
Yeah.
So I don't even think that's a concern or a question at this point. And then, yeah, you're really looking at Rahm. I think he's the one that, everyone is kind of looking to of like, hey, what the hell are you going to do, big guy? And no clue at all.
I feel like as far as golf fans are and what we're experiencing, Brooks Koepka is back, and it looked like he had no punishment, but he has received punishment, like not being available for the equity program for the PGA Tour for, I believe, 5 years it is, plus a $5 million, charitable donation he's had to make, among other things, the things he's had to give up. Like, yeah, he's back and playing golf, and we get to enjoy that, and that's a good thing. But like we kind of don't see the punishment that he's getting from this. It can wash over you and thinking like he got off easy and got back easy. Whereas it's not
beach this week.
It's not that easy. It's not that great from a financial standpoint for him. And if he got the good end of the deal, like what does that actually look like for Rahm? It's where the PGA Tour is in a really interesting spot. They're going to be incentivized to get these guys back, to get television ratings in a good spot before negotiations kick off for the next TV deal, probably in 2028 at some point. I would imagine when those discussions they'll be going on as of that point. And they'll want to have their model rolled out by then. The 2028 season is kind of what they're banking on. You're going to want those guys back by then, but you're not going to want to just open the door and wave them through. I don't have an easy answer here either.
Like, is Rahm driving television ratings for the PGA Tour? Like, are more people tuning in to, say, the Truist next week because John Rahm's there?
I think there would be a momentary bump, the novelty, right, as he comes back. But I don't think over a long term, absent like he goes and wins a bunch of majors and becomes like the best player in the world. I don't think so.
I think it's interesting you asked that and not Bryson, because I would definitely say yes to Bryson.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But
I
think Bryson goes without saying. That's why I'm asking for Rahm.
Right. I think you're right, Randy. I think it's an interesting buzz item. And I think it's one, again, it's not that Rahm is must-see TV, but it is more likely that the more big names you have at the Cadillac, let's just use that as maybe a bad example because it wasn't really a full field, the more likely it is that Rahm finishes third than it is Ben Griffin. And that's what I think would be viewed as a positive thing for professional golf. That's not a shot at Ben Griffin, but like some of these names that have been able to creep up into the kind of the top 10 of the PGA Tour. Like, golf is going to be a little more interesting if that's Bryson and Rahm and Cam Smith and some of these guys and P getting back involved. Guys that just have more not necessarily even fandom, but just more like recognizability from a lot of golf fans.
We're talking clout, baby.
Yeah, and controversy around them. I think it would make for more interesting TV. So
water mentions. Solly, I think it brings up an interesting question of what happens to the Asian tour. Like the PIF's been underpinning that, like the international series. What happens to the Aramco ladies series? Like, is that going by the wayside as well? Are they still going to spend money on the ladies Shadow Creek event? Are they getting out of golf completely, or is it just, hey, Liv's been an abject failure and we're going to stop throwing good money after bad or on that front. However, we're going to keep the other stuff going and be part of the ecosystem.
I don't have the answer to that, TC, but if I was sitting on their shoes, I would say it's the latter. I think Liv is a complete and abject failure, and spending money in golf can and has been fruitful for them in some other ways, and partnering with other organizations that is not pissing everybody off in the process, only to have next to nobody watching it on US television, which matters to you as much as you want to pretend like it doesn't. Like, PIF can do some amazing things in golf, and they can underpin the entire series of national opens like they've talked about doing. They can, there could be a 3-way deal between the DP World Tour, PGA Tour, and PIF.
A 2-way deal.
It could, yeah, it very well could. The PGA Tour could be cut out of all of that completely. I don't think that the results would tell PIF like they should get out of golf. I think they should just obviously get out of Liv.
And to an extent, they, think back to the LPGA event at Shadow Creek this year, the Aramco championship or whatever. I don't think we said a single word that week about who, where the money was coming from, who the money was coming from, all that. That's mission accomplished in their mind.
Washed, clean.
Yeah, laundered. So
you see the same thing in F1. You see the same thing in tennis. You see, it's.
To a certain extent, it just created so much noise that it just flooded the zone with this stuff, and it's normalized. All right, PIF can be involved as long as it's on terms that are good for the game, I think is where we've landed. It's like, at what point does Yasser get called to the principal's office if he hasn't already?
May have.
Yeah, to say
that's what
hey,
this
dude,
is a little
what
bit.
the fuck are you doing?
Can I go back to your previous comment though, TC, of PIF, as long as they're funding something and it's at least somewhat good for the game, it's okay. I still draw the line. I said this back in 2022 is like, as long as you don't have to get up there and act like Graham McDowell did in 2022 of, I know what happened to Khashoggi's bad, but I think we can use golf as a greater force for good. As long as you don't have to get up there and do that and vocally try to say positive things about the Saudi regime, and their money's gonna be everywhere. There's no stopping that. It's not a one drop rule of if there's any Saudi money here, this event is completely tainted. This person is completely tainted. That's not how I view it. It's like, if you're gonna basically sell your entertainment value to them and disrupt the entertainment that we get as fans out of it, and lie to my face about why you're doing it, and try to pretend like this is a good and noble cause, that's when people are going to call bullshit on you. At least that's where I'm sitting. And it's a gray-ish area, and it's not clean. None of it will be clean. But I don't think it's realistic to just boycott everything with golf if it involves PIF in any way, because they're going to be in a lot of places. And I find golf quite entertaining. I've just found none of what Liv has been able to be offered to clear that, even come close to clearing that bar for me.
Yeah.
I know I read somewhere this week, TC, just to answer your question real quick. I can't find it right now, but I believe it was 100% that Liv is no longer the sole underpinning, or excuse me, the PIF is no longer the sole underpin of Liv Golf, but their investment through Ladies European Tour, through other things, are continuing because they're still under long-term contracts for there.
Gotcha.
Which I would think that there is probably a world for Liv where you see all these PIF related companies still being involved in Liv Golf, just not being the sole. They're not underpinning the entire thing, but I'm still I'm sure you'll see Aramco show up somewhere, or the airline, or something else like that.
Do you think there's a Liv Golf 2027 schedule, like an event, in a series of events?
It depends on if you're listening to Luke Elvey or not.
I just don't know who's going to pay for that.
Well, that's
like,
the
it's
thing.
so much money.
It's like, all right, so you've got this thing seemingly unraveling, uncertainty. Are they going to have to fundraise? Yeah, this is business.
This is business.
But like, how do you go along with, all right, if people are already looking for new jobs, if this has all been signaled, we'll see what kind of a leader Scott O'Neill is, because once the first, I would argue Brooks and Reed were kind of the first two rats off of the sinking ship, but once your salesperson leaves, or this person or that person, or things stop getting paid, because that's the other thing. Like, I'm sure a lot of these deals that they've signed have been, are multi-year contracts. And so, how do you necessarily get out of those things without voiding the current deal as well? I don't know. I seemingly always go back to the Performance 54 guys, that agency that got in Yasser's ear and sold him a bill of goods. Like, those guys should be, just either laughing all the way to the bank and ashamed, and just all that stuff rolled into one. But like, those guys should never have a place in golf ever.
They got a big piece of golf, TC, not just Liv. They run a lot of golf.
I know.
It's all when you frame the Rahm thing and like him coming back, I think that was kind of from the tour side of it. But what if, so Liv goes away, right? Rahm could just go play European Tour next year, make top 10, and then the tour, I would think, has to have him back because it's been a year since his last Liv start.
Wouldn't be Liv. I guess it would. Yeah, if he played 2027 DP World Tour and then 2028, he would be back in theory. Yes,
but I think that would be a negative if that's how it played out. That would be a negative for the PGA Tour. They need star power like that. So I do think that Rahm has a little bit of bargaining power, not a lot, but all those guys, him, Cam Smith, they could just go play DP World Tour for the year.
And again, I don't know if this is petty to be at this point, but it's like, all right, 2023, Rahm, all right, you don't go. Please don't go, man. Don't go. If you go, it's the world's coming down on you. Can't go. Here's what we're doing. We're gonna have this new equity system. Please return my phone calls. You can't go, man. Don't go. Like, hey, we're
not going.
Please don't go. Hey, here's why you shouldn't go. Here's why you shouldn't go, on repeat. Like, people blowing up his phone. He ignored everybody, and he went. Then a life raft is thrown this past year, the returning member program. You can come back right now if you want, and here's what you're going to pay. And there's no guarantee that the path back is going to be easier than this later. And you also turn that down. I don't see how what leg the tour could. For what you said, it makes perfect sense. It would just be made more sense to have John Rahm playing PGA Tour events. But after you've done that, I don't know how you just wave them back through. That's where the tour's in a tricky spot of trying to blend those two things. And I think they honestly probably should be a little stubborn with somebody that treated their tour and the people at the PGA Tour the way that he did, and wouldn't look people in the eye, wouldn't talk to them about the decision, and screwed this whole process up by how many years? Like, how long did Liv get extended because Rahm left? Like, they were sinking. They weren't signing anybody post 2022. And he went and did this and blew up the framework agreement and which may have been a good thing for golf long term, but like, I just don't think it can or should be that easy for Rahm. As simple as it is, for exact reasons you said, I think it's going to get ugly.
Hell yeah.
A lot of agents made a lot of money off this whole deal. Now they're going to actually have to work for it, trying to get their guys back on the tour.
Uncle Bud.
Do you think all of the other scheduled Liv events happen this year, guys?
Oh,
let's go through the schedule. What do we got? We got
there's an event this coming week at Trump DC.
I think that one absolutely happens.
It sounds like it is. What is that going to be like?
Then you got South Korea, end of the month.
Just to pause on that, this is the first U.S. event. There's going to be, I would have to imagine there's going to be real media there. This is not one of those events where I don't think there's going to be much real media in Korea at the end of May. Like there's going to be some decently serious questions asked of some people this week. So expect some news and some conversation items coming out of this week.
I mean, I think it keeps rolling through South Korea. They go to Valderrama, JCB in Great Britain, and then they go to Trump, Bedminster, Neil's place. Yeah, and then they got their last two events. They got Indianapolis and Detroit.
I bet they make the season. I don't know. What I was shocked, I think, is that Liv's been telling us the whole time is that don't judge success based off of audience sizes. It's a different model. Don't judge success based off of people that are at the venue. It's a different model. These are spectacles, which I can see now after watching this dog shit event in Doral. I hope they got the bed bugs cleaned out before the guys got down there, though. But when I saw that the governor of Louisiana was like, yes, our tourism budget paid them $3 million. And that's what Liv has been jumping up and down and being like, you don't understand all the tourism dollars that we're getting. I'm like, $3 million?
South Australia.
That's it? That's what you guys have been so pumped about. I'm like, God, I just expected
the governor of Louisiana is a nut job.
Yeah, I read online that it was an 8-figure fee that they paid him, Cody, and I guess that turned out to not be true. That's wild.
Right.
One of the facts I read on X.com ended up not being true, and I'm just kind of come to terms with that.
Will you address the bot allegations?
Oh, that's great.
That's true.
I was waiting for this to happen. So we've been inundated with bot followers for I don't know how long. I first noticed it happening several months ago. It's just happening at an outrageous pace. Apparently this has happened to a fair amount of people in the golf industry, but I was like, what? Of course we did not buy followers. Of course we would not do that. Where's this coming from? I was like, you know what? I'm just going to let this ride. And I'm just going to assume that the first person that calls us out for this is the one who did this, who bought I don't know how much it costs to buy followers or whatever, get hit with a bot attack. But sure enough, one of the Liv bot accounts called us out for it this week, and threw out some conspiracy theories as to why we've gotten 500,000 bot followers on Twitter in the last several months. But that was we were waiting for that to happen just to see who called it out, and that's my number one suspect I have to guess right now.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I love. As the person that sees the money in and out,
you love when people talk about it.
Just that we paid oh my God. I wish I could report that I've been paying for bots here the last 6 months, just running a secret campaign.
Maybe we should get it up to
I know. How high could we go? Could we get 100 million followers? Maybe that's the play.
You know what I love about it, Randy, is just to watch people get worked up about that. And then I already think you're full of shit, and to watch them be 1,000% wrong on one thing is oh God, you just freed me up to make fun of you 85 times more because of how wrong you have to be about everything else. If you're this committed to being wrong on this, and I know you're wrong, you just made it a lot worse. Luke,
I just want to know what for a platform that we've mostly stepped away from over the last
it's a
couple of years.
I'm
sure it's got something to do with the Starlink IPO or the SpaceX IPO and all of that stuff. Yeah. And Elon's trying to
choosing them numbers, baby,
show growth and all that. But man, it's what's our end game there? What are we trying to?
12 years we waited. We did it the right way for 12 years, but we just had to hurry up and get 1 million, or all our sponsors were going to drop us.
Do you know who got the real L out of this deal though? Solly spent all that money buying Twitter bots, and Neil couldn't buy enough solvent to regrip his clubs. So he's just over in his basement trying to raw dog them grips.
Yeah, I used all of Randy's budget on that one. I do got to get one debasing tweet in here today, if you'll let. Luke Elvey, again, I think I'm going to say at the point that I think it's a parody account, had a tweet that said an investment idea.
Luke's smart enough for it.
An investment idea for Liv Golf: have all the captains pool their massive sign-on bonuses from PIF into a consortium and buy the league. It would have to be around $1 billion, and they can back the concept they committed so strongly to. Would be akin to SSG's investment into the PGA Tour. One of the hardest I've ever laughed at a single tweet over the last 5 years of this dog shit era of professional golf, of one of the most off the wall. Like, we just watched the most selfish series of acts in professional golf history in the last 5 years. And the idea that they would take all this money, that they got all this free handout money on this horrific business model, take that money and not walk away from the table. They would reinvest this into this money pit that is Liv Golf. And he's dead serious about that. Was the highlight of my week. That is one of the hardest I've ever laughed at a bot tweet.
Luke has such an uncanny and remarkably brilliant way of writing something and making the complete opposite point that he thought he was making. It's incredible. He's truly one of a kind. If we're looking at World Golf Hall of Fame,
this should go in there.
Blockie. I think LV's making his case. Like, if this was the LPGA point system, LV would be in the low 20s as far as points are concerned right now.
I don't know what's going to happen with Liv Golf, but I promise you what's not going to happen is that Richard Bland and Graham McDowell are going to take their sign-on bonuses and reinvest it back into this league. I can tell you that's not going to happen.
I could see Bryson and his guy, David Blitzer, making a play for the IP and the assets and stuff and
rolling it into the U Golf Tour.
Yeah.
So Bryson had some quotes, of course, to Flushing at Golf when asked about if he had asked about, if his team had asked about routes back to the PGA Tour. He said, it's completely untrue. I'm working as hard as I can to find a solution. He said, I'm committed to making team golf work in the best way possible. I think there's a place for it in the ecosystem, and I want to continue to grow the game across the world. That's always been our mission, and it's never been more true than now. I don't know if the whole interview is available, or I didn't read anything beyond that, but that does not say Liv Golf on there. That says team golf. And to your point earlier, TC, of I don't think Bryson's dying to get back into the week-to-week of the PGA Tour. I would tend to agree with that. It would not surprise me if Bryson tried to do something in the team golf realm on his own. I do not think he's going to buy Liv Golf. I think he's not an idiot. I shouldn't say that. He's not a complete idiot. And even he would know that Liv Golf business model doesn't make any sense. I think he knows what he's worth. And could he make something work team golfish / YouTube? That wouldn't surprise me as much as it would like Bryson just playing a full Liv schedule in 2027 would. Like, I kind of believe him when he says he wants to make team golf work. I don't believe him at all if he says it's untrue that he's asked about a route back to the PGA Tour, because that has been reported to be true, and he lies about this stuff literally all the time.
Are we still on last week or this past week? Is this still?
David Faraday admitted he was in the dark about the PIF pulling funding when he did his big speech when they came on the air in Mexico, which was great. Last thing I had was Gabby Herzig did a great piece for The Athletic, just exploring Liv's future, asked a bunch of like sports investors, got 8 sources to talk about, what's going on with Liv. Like, explain this to me. Some of the quotes in this article are what you'd think they'd be. I'll just read a few of them. The league is in free fall. They still have major large payment obligations, and they still have very large purses to pay out. So if you're an investor looking into this, I don't know how you step into it. And last one, Liv is so far from cash flow break even, said one investor who currently holds a stake in an F1 team. The math is never going to work. The business model was around selling these franchises to get all that money out, but that investment thesis has completely failed. The teams are not recognizable entities. The Crushers are the Crushers because of Bryson DeChambeau. When he's not there, who the fuck wants the Crushers?
Which I think, like, Rory's an investor in Alpine. That could have been Rory for all we know on the quote.
Like, that's true. That's a good point. That's a very good point. I had not thought of that. So, big week.
What did they say these franchises? What did they try to tell us these franchises were going to?
$1 billion franchises, Randy. $1 billion. Now they kind of changed that to like 300 million each.
Sure.
Which, again.
I can see the cliques being. I'll talk.
I think if we don't buy more bots, we could buy a franchise off the scrap heap.
What do we think happened to, like, did the Niblets? Did their, like, history, like when the Cleveland Browns returned, or when, like, does the
they were an
history
expansion
stay
franchise
with, Like their history went to the Ravens versus, like when a team keeps their history there and then restarts as a new franchise, but has their history.
Yeah, I thought the Cleveland history stayed in Cleveland. I thought that was part of the deal. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, LPGA.
Yeah, Randy, take us to the LPGA Tour.
Guys, Nelly. We don't know if she'll ever crack the Fedora 5, but she won handily again this week. Kind of a shock that she was playing this event, quite honestly, coming off the Chevron. I don't know, Cody, you're shaking your head. I don't know if she's just satisfying like the once every, is it 3 or 4 year requirement that the LPGA has for players to play events. I don't know if she just wanted a little R&R down on the
Riviera Maya,
the Mexican Caribbean. But anyway, she played great golf. Really was never in doubt. Like kind of a repeat of last week. Goes on to win by 4 shots. Guys, just stats here. This is courtesy of the LPGA Tour. Nelly, this is her 18th LPGA Tour victory. She's the 26th American to win at least 18 times. Do you know the last American to win at least 18 times?
How long ago were we talking?
This woman won for the 18th time in 2015. TC, kind of your girl.
Stacey Lewis?
No. Christy Kerr.
Oh, yeah.
Nelly is the youngest American to win at least 18 times since Nancy Lopez got her 18th win in 1980. So some nice company there for Nelly. And the last player of any nationality to win her 18th event was Lydia Ko back in 2020. I think this is where it gets interesting. So this is Nelly. Sorry, a couple more here. Nelly, first American to win the tournament after a major since Meg Mallon did that in 2014. Lorena Ochoa was the last person to win the Chevron and then the week after in back-to-back starts. That was in 2008. So the win today, this is Nelly's 23rd Hall of Fame point.
What do they need? 27?
I believe 27 gets you inducted. I will say you get a point for Player of the Year. You get a point for the VAR trophy, which goes to the lowest scoring average. Nelly sometimes is in danger of not meeting the minimum round threshold for that. But let's assume she keeps up the strong play. She wins Player of the Year. Let's say she wins the scoring title. That's 25 points. If she wins another major, that would be 27 points for Nelly. So I think a Hall of Fame storyline is very, very much in play this year. And just to kind of reset everything, Nelly, this is her 6th start of the season. She has 3 wins and 3 runner-ups. So it is, I mean, she's doing it.
2 players.
Yeah. Mel Reed was on the broadcast. It was actually a CBS broadcast today. Mel Reed said this is the best golf of her life. They asked Nelly that question. Nelly refuses to answer. She's just keeping her head down and inspiring the next generation. But Mel Reed was like, this is the best golf I've seen Nelly play. According to the LPGA, her strokes gained, the KPMG Insights, I don't think it includes this week yet, but she came in at plus 4.23 total. That's only going to go up with a 4-shot victory this week. She's kind of running away from everybody to start 2026. So her next start, she's not teeing it up next week at the Mizuho. She will be in Cincinnati 2 weeks from now at the Queen City Classic or Championship or whatever they're calling it at Makatiwa.
Randy, for the listener's sake, that strokes gain number, like I know with the component level data on the LPGA Tour, there's some questions because it's based on caddies filling that out, but the total number is just based on how much you beat the field by. Above 4, that's peak Tiger. Like Scotty hadn't gotten above 4. Like that's it's outrageous. It's insane to consistently beat like the average level player by over 16 shots per tournament is what that's saying. That's outrageous.
Yeah, it really is. Like she's just head and shoulders better than everybody. I mean, Gino is not having a good year. There's just Hannah Green. Hannah Green has had a pretty good year, and of course, Hyojo Kim won twice. But it just seems like Nelly's. I mean, she's this gear from Nelly. Nobody else has this gear right now. It just is. It's on a different level.
Say 2 of the remaining 4 major championship venues, Hazeltine and Riviera, seem to suit her quite well. I don't think Lytham doesn't suit her, but I think that, brings other players more strongly into the fold. And then Evian's just a total crapshoot. That's what we've seen.
So the same caveats with the KPMG insights, but that total 4.23, the way they break it down, Nelly is minus 0.3 in putting, meaning her tee to green number is 5.14 strokes gained.
That's where I would throw. I'm gonna double tap my head on that one. That's probably not accurate.
Yeah.
But there's no malfeasance in that. It's just like legitimately very hard to guess your data numbers. Exactly how far away you are on putts.
Randy,
we do have the new Data Golf women's rankings too. She's of course number 1 over there, and they have her at plus 4.13.
Randy, what was the what's the deal with the LPGA on CBS? Just like the most random weeks.
I know. I don't know. So they will be on CBS next week too, for the Mizuho, which is like a pretty good tournament. They're not at Liberty National this year, but
Mountain Ridge is a good golf course.
Mountain Ridge is better than Liberty National.
Yeah.
You think? Okay. All right.
We played it.
Is that the one we played? Always. Okay. All right. Then
Randy plays so many country clubs. You can't keep them all straight.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Mountain Ridge is sweet. I take that back. But then they have the Dow from Michigan. I don't know, TC. It's very weird how and why they choose to use this CBS network time. I'll just say, like, Kelly Tillman, Mel Reed were the broadcasters. They had Karen Stupples out on the course. Like, I think that's the best women's golf broadcasting lineup you're going to get. And I wish they would
far
use
better than anything we've seen lately.
I wish they would use the CBS opportunities for some better events. I mean, had Nelly not gone down to Mexico this week, this is Gabby Lopez was instrumental in getting this tournament restarted down in Mexico. This was a mule fest, not a good field at all this week in Mexico. A lot of top players choosing to skip it.
They shortened the field at one point in time. This was supposed to be a full field. I think they brought it down to 120.
Natalie Gulbis played. Like, how is she still getting starts? It's just,
Grupo Salinas needs to get involved and throw some more money at the purse.
What was the plan this week? I know TV got kind of thrown into. Were they going to be on CBS just before PGA Tour? If it went as planned, okay, like 1 to 3 or 12 to 3, and that they were
1 to 3,
and they were trying to get it done.
They probably would have made him play fivesomes if need be, just to get in the TV window.
It's bad. It's bad.
I did appreciate Carlotta was getting called out for her pre-shot routine on the air. She looked at the cup 17 times.
A 5-footer, right? Wasn't it like a 5-foot putt?
Yeah. Like, we need to be stroking.
Yeah. That's probably need to be kicked off the tour. So next week I mentioned Mizuho at the world famous great golf course Mountain Ridge, and then they go to Cincinnati. But we're all leading towards Riv, and that's the first weekend of June. That's kind of the next crown jewel here on the women's calendar.
We have the AIG Women's Open announced for the old course at Sunningdale, going back there for the first time since 2008. That is excellent. As well, we'll have
so good.
Yeah,
that's it, man. I mean, from like a viewing perspective and just TV in person, challenging the ladies, going to a place that the men can't go because it's not long enough. This will be post Gil kind of touching it up a little bit. But plenty of corporate opportunities for him there in London. It seems like they do maybe have a little bit of a bias against going to Scotland for the Women's Open right now.
We're just there.
Yeah, no, I know.
St. Andrews doesn't count.
Yeah, but like outside of St. Andrews, it seems like they're very heavy into.
Yeah, they were Muirfield 22.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess an interesting thing, like, so the women aren't bound. Obviously, the Men's Open has to be played on a links course. The women don't have to play the links courses, so you get places like Walton Heath a few years ago, Sunningdale. I'm curious if you guys like that, or I like it a lot more now that the RNA is really making sure when they do go to links courses, it's like the best open rota links venues. But they have room to go to like a Royal Porthcawl in Wales last year. I kind of dig it. I think it works for the women.
It sounds like they'll try to go to Portrush at some point here in the near future as well.
I love it big. I think the Heathland golf courses are probably almost certainly not big enough to host open championships. And it's I always, whatever I've played most recently between Heathland golf and links golf is my favorite. So I just played links this past week. Links is now my favorite. But whenever I've left a trip playing Heathland golf, I'm like, oh, that's the best in the world. Like, it's all of the elements of links golf that I love, the firm turf, the bunkers being in the right place of exactly where you want to hit it. It's just add in a little elevation change, a little bit of shielding from the wind, yet wind still hits these places and it doesn't just beat you up right by the sea. A little bit better weather and just amazing turf to play golf on, and extreme quality golf shots on some really scenic places. But take me there. Sunningdale Old is just, I'm not breaking any news here, but that's one of the greatest golf courses in the world, truly.
Great man, Harry Colt.
The venues are one thing, but I respect the RNA and AIG team who is like, we need to keep this by city centers. And I think they stretched it last year, getting out to Porthcawl, even though there were still, had train options and everything else to get people in and out. But keeping them by big metro areas where you can actually fill people, because it goes a long, long way.
Yeah.
Need some environment there. And also this year's AIG going to have expanded television coverage this past year, but unfortunately no radio coverage.
This was the other announcement. I hope it's temporary. But there's going to be no radio coverage that week, but they are really building out a lot more television coverage. So viewers back here in the States, like that'll be good. But yeah, personally bummed Cody and I won't be gracing the radio airwaves for the AIG.
We were served our pink slips a couple weeks ago, but I'll trade that any day for some more coverage, because they definitely need it.
Also, no laying up did work for Omaha Productions.
Of course.
TC, you want to take us to this next bit? I don't have the heart to introduce this next news item.
Yeah, the Trump administration announced that the federal government will officially take over the East Potomac golf links on Sunday, ending the lease and begin renovations. Two sources familiar with the plans told Note Us or Not Us. And yeah, this is it sounds like the FOS is coming in and leading renovations, and NLT said this news was a complete surprise to us. We also have not received any offer of a lease at Rock Creek, which is one of the other courses under their purview. For the sake of our community and employees, we hope to have clarity as soon as possible. We remain committed to our mission, our community, and working to protect the public golf courses in DC for the benefit of the entire community. It sounds like they want to take it to an 18-hole Fazio, just, Cheesecake Factory. I don't know. Like, it's like, to me, it's just
taking the staple of public golf in DC in a 36-hole facility, and that was going to be renovated essentially for free by Tom Doak, and
pro bono,
canceling the lease and bringing in the FOS to renovate it with hopes of potentially hosting a major championship or a Ryder Cup there, which is wildly unrealistic based on everything we've read. And the news here is that this is happening now and is taking over. I assume that by Sunday that meant today. The renovations start tomorrow, and people had tee times booked over the next couple of weeks. People that sound like when I read, the people in the golf shop hadn't even heard anything about this, and have not been working under this assumption. But sounds like it is beginning now, and yeah,
I would say, I mean, aside from any sort of politics, I'd just say, like this doesn't seem like great business, doesn't seem like great for the community, doesn't seem like both locally, people who play golf, people who don't play golf, and I think my takeaway as well is like, fuck Tom Fazio.
I hope he gets tarred and feathered in the golf industry. I hope he never gets it. He should be ashamed of himself. I mean that, TC. I don't know if I've ever been more like pissed off at somebody in the actual like golf industry for a decision being made here. This is heartless and shameless. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Hell
This is disgusting, dude. Like, oh my God.
I don't know. I feel like there's kind of a code amongst golf course architects and the way that you do business and don't do business. And I think that this flies in the face of all of that, just with, in having this Walter Travis course and that debris has been dumped on from the excavation project for the White House ballroom. Setting all of that aside, I would just think that like Fazio would have the professional courtesy to not step right in on something that Doak was doing pro bono out of, it's insane to me. So the fact that various, well thought of reputable entities in golf continue to do business with this guy, it's pretty sad, I think.
Yeah, I wonder what like the Augusta folks think of that.
Yeah, Augusta, Caves Valley, Discovery, Landco. I mean, all of it. Just it's insane to me. So
yeah, well, our hearts go out to the folks, the National Links Trust, that have put so much into everything in that community, in that golf community over several years, and had an unbelievable plan to not only revitalize but keep these iconic venues a part of everyday accessible public golf in DC, and to have it be snatched away like this is maddening. I don't really have the heart to dive much more into it, but it was one of the few shining beacons of a great organization doing great things in a massive market for public golf in this country, and in a country that is already lacking the appropriate care around public golf, and to see it happen like this is just really, really big bummer.
Slogged through a 1,000-mile pipe of bullshit just to get shovels in the ground at Langston, and it's just crazy. So anyway, Solly, in better news, we did have a slow play penalty given out at a National Open on the DP World Tour. Gregorio De Leo just one shot out of the lead, but they were being timed since the 9th hole, and on the 11th hole, he easily exceeded his allowed time, 50 seconds, by more than an additional 30 seconds. So that kind of warmed my heart. Loved seeing that. And then Jamie Donaldson won 1,000,000 miles from Turkish Airlines, which got me all chuffed and made me think of the great man Eric Adams.
First stop's going to be Istanbul for Jamie.
We know that.
I feel like Eric Adams needs to get involved at East Potomac in some form or fashion.
Who's to say he's not?
He's Albanian now. What can he really do?
What else was in your notebook, TC?
Yeah, we had some R&A happenings aside from the Women's Open getting announced at Sunningdale. We had the Lytham 2028 announcement at the media day this week. We got to play Lytham this week, as well as Birkdale and Hoylake. I love Lytham, man. It's just, it is an intellectual examination. It is we had a 30-mile-an-hour wind from the opposite direction, and it was in prime condition, getting ready for the Lytham Trophy, the big amateur event that they have there, and it was awesome. I mean, I was grinning ear to ear the entire time out there, and I'm really glad that they're going back there in 2028. It sounded like it was, either a Muirfield or Turnberry, although they've kind of politely just put Turnberry off to the side and said, hey, like, well,
non-dog.
yeah, I don't, logistically, I don't know if that's going to happen, but, it sounds like Muirfield, we'll see what happens there. But, I think in Port Marnock and Hoylake, I'm sure I'll be in the offing here in the coming years after next year, St. Andrews, then 28 Lytham. I'm just glad to see him going back to Lytham because there was rumors and feelings that it's just too small of a property and pace of play gets really tough because it's, there's some choke points there, middle of the round. And there's just not enough places to stage things, but they've built a new range as we saw out over, I think off the 11th hole. I almost hit it OB over there. And yeah, it's, I don't know, it'll be a logistical challenge for them, but one that I think is extremely worthwhile because that's one of the grand stages in all of the game.
I totally agree, TC. This will be 16 years since Adam Scott, and we'll see it, of course, at the AIG Women's Open later this year as well. But you get there and you're like, it is pretty small. Like it is. We were at Birkdale and Lytham and Liverpool this week, and it's like clearly the smallest of the three in terms of all the things you need to go into a massive tournament like the Open Championship. But it's one of the best examinations of golf out there, especially if they get any wind at all. It is just every single aspect of it is extremely challenging. And I've said 252 bunkers for like 12 years. I've been saying that. Apparently there's only like 180 or 190 I've been overestimating, but it feels that way. And they're vacuums, they're massive. Just like all of these collection areas around the bunkers just funnel everything into them. And it's just one of the most expertly designed golf courses I've ever played. And we're going to get a heavy dose of it here over the next 3 years. And we're all better off for it.
Randy, I was saying some of the bunkers, or like the concept of the bunkers is almost like a NFL wide receiver prospect, or like a really, really long limbed wing in the NBA. Like the catch radius is so freaking wide, just so much wider than the actual
suck the balls in.
Twitchy. Yeah. And then Mark Darbin basically said, full steam ahead on rollback. We would like to, stay aligned with Augusta National and the RNA on that front. This is all per the Jeff Shackelford's newsletter as well. He said the World Cup final is taking place the same day as the Open Championship final round this year. So possibly having to move up tee times. Don't think it'll be an issue, but we'll see. That the Masters Code of Conduct policy that earned Sergio an on-course warning. I know that the Tour and the Masters and the USGA and the RNA have tried to be in lockstep on like, hey, let's get kind of a unified code of conduct in place here. It sounds like the RNA is looking towards putting something similar in place. He said, Darbin said Port Marnock is a more complicated venue than they are. It's taken them slightly longer than they initially envisaged, but there's hope there that they're going to take one there. So anyway, lots going on the RNA front. And then what else we got? I mean, we played Birkdale.
We got eyes on Royal Birkdale, the changes that have been made there as well. And it was, I think it was my fourth time playing at TC, and it was the definite, I don't know, I've kind of always, I don't want to say I've underappreciated Birkdale. There's no bad open venues. There's no bad golf courses. It has never stood out to me as something really special. And this time playing it, kind of in the order we played it last. We did get there, and it was like, okay, this is a really, really, really good golf course. It's just the way it's set in the dunes and how unique that is to that area. And there's not dunes at Royal Lytham like this. There's not dunes at Royal Liverpool like this. And the way the holes set and use the dunes and kind of just where the greens sit, kind of just a little bit in a corner and make it a little bit less accessible than a normal links golf course. It just was a really, really stern championship test, and it got me that much more jacked up. We're going to have a full video ahead of the Open Championship as well, detailing all three of these golf courses we played, and we got a ton of footage, and we'll break it down in a lot of ways. But Birkdale was bucking, man, and it's so pure right now. The conditions in that part of the world are amazing. Every tee shot you hit that hit the fairway, like all 5 of my shots this week that hit the fairway, dust flew up everywhere, like every time. It's awesome. And I know it's a long ways to go before the Open, but if they get a nice run up this year, it's going to be an all-timer, man. It's going to be really, really good.
I think, Birkdale's got something else going on, just as far as like there's another variable there with the little bit more elevation change and dunescape. I've never seen Portrush before, but Birkdale, I think I was pretty taken by it the first time we played it and remained so. I do think I like the changes they made to 5, drivable 4. That'll be a cool spot in the round. I didn't love, was it 14 and 15?
Change 14 the par 5, and then 15 is a new par 3. 14 was a par 3. They took that out and are kind of staging kind of a big fan area there and a chipping area there. So you skip the old 14th, par 5, 15th. The go get that hole is now the 14th, and they added a par 3, the new 15th hole, and just kind of that part wasn't the highlight, I wouldn't say. And
I think
kind
the
of 14th
green feels overshaped. Just a little bit too. Yeah, it just doesn't really. It just feels a little bit out of place. And then 15, the new par 3, didn't like it. Straight up, it just wasn't for me. Just wasn't in key. And there's a massive corporate hospitality behind it that just doesn't feel like the Open. It feels like something you'd see at a PGA Championship. So.
All that said, it's still excellent venue. Like a lot for us and a little not to like, but it's going to be a really good one. 2 excellent finishing holes.
I don't know. I just continue to be a little bit surprised by the RNA's, just blind, not blind loyalty, but really, really strong loyalty to Mackenzie and Ebert.
And that's just after playing Liverpool too. Like they're making stuff that like really does not blend in well with the rest of the golf course. And it sounds like a super snobby take that I'm always hesitant to make. But then you get to like the 15th hole at Liverpool, which is now the 17th hole, or the 17th hole during the Open. Like a lot of the whining about that hole, and you get there and you're kind of like, all right, I kind of see where you're coming from, because this isn't really blending with the rest of the golf course. But anyways, we got a lot of time to get into a lot of Open Championship stuff ahead.
Do you guys like how I laid it out? Originally, it was supposed to be Hoylake was last, Birkdale was first, Lytham was always in the middle.
This was great.
It would have been great in any case. Yeah. But I think Hoylake was a great, like, Hoylake to me was it was so firm, but kind of reminds me in certain spots of Royal Melbourne West, where like it's less about distance and more like you don't need to hit driver off of a 440-yard hole. Like it's very much about placement and precision and thoughtfulness off the tee, especially in those first 6 or 7 holes. So
it was I thought it was perfect, Cody. I thought it was rough was down a little bit at Liverpool, so off the plane that was like a good little intro. And then Lytham was just like 35 constant in your face. I don't know how I'm going to will a 3-footer in kind of wind. And then Birkdale was kind of a balance between the two.
And so I'm not going to lie, Solly was pretty intimidated by all the portraits of Sevi.
A lot of Sevi going on.
Great man
as well.
A lot of Sevi going on.
With the conditions, TC, I feel like we need to convene the Open maybe this week. I think it's like get over there and let's get it started.
Yeah.
Well, the conditions are ripe.
If they played in what we played in, Randy, not a player would break par. Not one.
It was sick.
Not one. I don't care how good they are.
64 the first day.
Not
Randy,
one.
It was.
Remember, TC said that like
TC at Harbortown was saying, "How can
I meant Lytham. I meant Birkdale Day wasn't nearly as hard. If they'd have played Lytham in what we played in for 4 days, nobody would have broke par.
None of the old boys were out there playing, Randy.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Only the Warriors.
And then last thing was just the Pebble Beach. Randy, you had to be thrilled here. They added a tree. They added a second tree.
I think they replaced it, right?
It was
they lost it.
Replaced the tree.
Well, the fact that they waited 8 years or something to replace it. Okay.
Trees and fairways are sick. I maintain that. I'm glad they went through the trouble of putting a new one in. Little bit more down the fairway from the tee box as well. 2 thumbs up for me.
Yeah, I mean the other one was kind of not in play really anymore, so it makes all the sense in the world. So, All right, guys. I said we'd do under 2 hours. I don't think we just barely quite didn't make it. I'm sorry. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We got a big week ahead. Another signature event on the PGA Tour calendar. Quail Hollow. We have Liv Golf Virginia. Got the Mizuho America's Open.
Mountain Ridge, great golf course. If nobody's heard of that one.
The LPGA Tour Catalunya Championship on the DP World Tour. I'm off next weekend, actually. So you guys have a lot of fun without me. Say that again.
It's going to be a party.
Yeah. I'll let you guys have some fun.
Party in
Never
Charlotte,
let you guys have
baby.
any fun. We will have a U.S. National Development Program video. Our guy Neil became the kid again this past week. That'll be a video out on our YouTube channel this coming week. And then we're reheating our concept we did for the Masters this year. We drafted the best our best PGAs of all time. Different exercise than the Masters, if I may say. But that episode will be out Tuesday as well. Maybe a bonus episode out this week as well on Thursday, assuming things all go to plan there as well.
Also, thanks to everybody who reached out with criticisms, compliments, concerns, threats about my Dream 18. Some electric feedback on that.
Check that out if you have not already on our podcast feed. TC went through his Dream 18 holes of golf in the world. Has to match the whole number of the course.
And I had to have played the course.
Had to have played it and couldn't have more than one from the same course. Great exercise, and I'm terrified to dive into it as well. But I want to give a shout out to our friends at FootJoy and Titleist, of course. High Noon and Holderness and Born. Cody running the ones and twos. Matt on the social. Big Randy, TC, and Neil for joining here as well. We'll see you back here next week for yet another live show. We're going to be spelunking in the content caves this week, collecting stuff up. It's going to be a great stretch run here in these